照らして。キスカパクパクスタート。このかすかな雲を払って晴れ渡る空を。ナイスヒーリング。バレちゃった。へい。
涙雨。降りてあふるる渡り川。
行く先を照らして。このかすかな光が影も雲も押しのけて晴れ渡る空をもたらしてくれますように。
化粧だ。面倒をかけた。
行く先を照らして。よっ。すっかり自分を見た。日向ぼっこしましょう。
ナイスヒーリング。
このかすかな光が影も雲も押しのけて晴れ渡る空をもたらしてくれますように。
ナイスヒーリング。
捕まっちゃった。
バト トル体験を改善しないと。このスピードで遅すぎる。
涙雨。降りてあふるる渡り川。
なんか背中がゾワゾワする。一旦引き返さない？行く先を照らして。金貨パクパクスタート。すっかり自分を見失ってしまったんですね。待たせちゃいましたね。
ナイスヒーリング。
遊びはここまで。一人なら嘘でも万人なら本当になる。ほら騙された。お猫様のぼったくりだ。
涙雨。降りてあふるる渡り川。
私が幸運の最高の強化が導く。日向ぼっこしましょう。楽になったよ。このかすかな光、影も雲も押しのけて晴れ渡る空をもたらしてくれますように。捕まっちゃった。ちょっとお宝全部ほらいい。
ガツンとくるやつでいこう。ふふ。
バレちゃった。へい。
涙雨。 降りてあふるる渡り川。
ほい。にゅっ。待たせちゃいましたね。
ナイスヒーリング。
お猫様のぼったくりだ。
へえ、敵がリポップした。はっ、
捕まっちゃった。はあ、遊びはここ一人な。嘘でも万人なら本当になる。ほら騙された。
涙雨。降りてあふるる渡り川。ナイダ渡り川で引導を渡す。その勝利、朝露と消え失せる。
行く先を照らして。すっかり日向ぼっこしましょう。楽になったよ。このかすかな光が影も雲も押しのけて晴れ渡る空をもたらしてくれますように。
ナイスヒーリング。
バレちゃった。へい。お宝全部ほらいい。
涙雨。降りてあふるる渡り川。
行く先を照らして。 行く先を照らして。金貨パクパクスタート。なんか背中がゾワゾワする。金貨パクパクスタート。猫様のぼったくりだ。
へえ、敵がリポップした。はっ、
バレちゃった。へい。
涙雨。降りてあふるる渡り川。
行く先を照らして。
That sucks. I do think it's a little bullshit that you can get no rewards for that. Like, I think just getting. I mean, I get that you have to have the opportunity to get nothing, because otherwise there'd be no like downside to it. Fuck.
未来は日向ぼっこしましょう。
化粧
この
だ。面
かす
倒をかけた。
かな光、影も雲も押しのけて晴れ渡る空をもたらしてくれますように。
化粧だ。面倒をかけた。
捕まっちゃった。何よ、私を食い物にしようってわけ？お宝全部もうらいい。
涙雨。降りてあふるる渡り川。
バレちゃった。へい。はあ、 遊びはここまで。一人なら嘘でも万人なら本当になる。ほら騙された。
出発の時間だ。その瞬間、朝露と消え失せる。ナイダは左側で引導を渡そう。涙雨。降りてあふれる渡り川。
捕まっちゃった。
大事ない。
はっ、
無傷だ。
バトル体験を改善しないと。このスピードで遅すぎる。
大事ない。危険と判定。
お猫様のぼったくりだ。
その瞬間、朝露と消え失せる。
行く先を照らして。待たせちゃいましたね。
ナイスヒーリング。
このかすかな光、影も雲も押しのけて晴れ渡る空をもたらしてくれますように。
ナイスヒーリング。
バレちゃった。へい。うわっ、猫だ。マジだ。遊びはここまで。一人なら嘘でも万人なら本当になる。ほら騙された。お宝全部もらい。
涙雨。降りてあふれる渡り川。
捕まっちゃった。
またか。
敵がリポップした。いや、
ナイダ渡り川で引導を渡そう。ここに来たのはその瞬間、朝露と消え失せる。
行く先を照らして。 なんか背中がゾワゾワする。一旦引き返さない？
100% 弱点撃破。
捕まっちゃった。
またか。
まずい。
日向ぼっこしましょう。
化粧
このかすかな光、影も雲も押しのけて晴れ渡る空をもたらしてくれますように。
ナイスヒーリング。
涙雨。降りてあふるる渡り川。またか。
お宝全部もらい。
へえ、敵がリポップした。ガツンとくるやつでいくか。ふふ。
バレちゃった。へい。
ないだ渡り川で引導を渡す。涙雨。降りてあふるる渡り川。ここに来たのはあなた、それともまたか。その瞬朝露と消え失せ。
ちょっとよっ。遊びはここ。一人なら嘘でも万人なら本当になる。ほら騙された。
よし、強化されたらまたやろう。用でもあるの？ないなら帰るから。
Hello there, how's it going? I am doing exceptionally well because I just like a little more than an hour ago. Actually, no, about an hour ago. I did another round of Fork Tower, and we actually beat the third boss. Well, unfortunately, I died at the last mechanic because I fucked up. Because I was moving and I'm on controller, so I pressed L3. So I was trying to move and I accidentally pressed L3. And when you were targeting an enemy and you press L3, you lock onto them and then you start strafing and you strafe around them, which is like so fucking useless in the game. And so basically, it was at the very end, and there's these mechanics that you have to do very quickly. So it's like you have to bait some AOE's, move, get into your tower, move. Um, and so yeah, I was delayed by a second, which caused me to get fucked. But the rest of them cleared it. Well, I was rezzed during Enrage, and we were able to kill it. And actually, we killed it twice today. So that was the first run, and then we died almost immediately to Super Trap because we're stupid. And then so we went in again and cleared it again. This time I didn't die at all. Um, well, yeah, I didn't die. I didn't die to that boss at all, and we got to the last boss. Like there's a little bit of stuff you have to do in between the third and fourth boss, and the fourth boss is the last. So yeah, two times where we cleared the third boss. So that's always nice. It's great progression. So now it's just that, beating the final boss, and I'm done. I'm done with my 48 man raid. I don't have to coordinate with 48 people again. I mean, I'll probably run it again a few more times afterwards, but I won't feel a rush. And like, there's always going to be clear runs, and so like, there's no worry about like not getting into runs. But the tough thing is like finding a group or a leader that's really good at shot calling and getting into their group, because like the dude we had today was like really fucking good. He was like, yes, head here, bait. Now go here. Now go north. Now go west. It's like very, very specific. And like the raid, I was doing this third boss the day before as well, and the guy was like, well, I did two runs. One was the same dude, um, but the second pair after that was by this guy who's really terrible with shot calling. And so we could get to the last major mechanic, but he was just really bad at shot calling that, and so it led to a lot of deaths, and we just didn't progress at all. And then, but the guy who was today was the same guy who was the first two runs of yesterday. He was really on point, but the group really wasn't up to that. The group hadn't like done well enough in that third boss to get to the reliably to the last major mechanic, and so this time all their practice from yesterday and some of the people who were in yesterday's run went to the shittier guys calling guy runs later that evening. Um, so yeah, so we did it. We did did two pulls, managed to beat the boss both times. Very pleased. Yeah. Now that I've gotten to the fourth boss, now I can be in like Magitar, which is the boss's name is Prog runs. So like that's pretty much like everyone's like now our team is up to that point. Whenever I see a Magitar Prog run, because typically there's no way like to stop people from like saying, yeah, I've beaten the third boss and try to sneak in and try to get into a clear group or try to get into a fourth boss Prog group. But technically, there are FF logs which you could use to look up their character to confirm whether they've killed it or not. But so you could try to sneak in, but then usually if you like keep dying, they'll probably just kick you and be like, "Dude, you've obviously lied." Um, but now it's just like cool. I can get into those prog groups because I see lots of those prog groups. I was kind of in this like weird middle spot where a lot of people were working on clearing the fourth boss or doing re-clear runs, and a lot of people were working on beating the second boss. And there weren't that many people doing the middle boss, so it's like, yeah, that first wave of people had managed to clear the third boss and moved on to the last one, and a bunch of new fresh prog runs started going and started clearing those first two bosses. So I was kind of in that weird middle spot where there just weren't as many dragon runs. So the fact that I've gotten to the fourth boss means like there will always be fourth boss runs, and like the guy who shot called today, I'm gonna try to get into every single one of his runs because one, he's a good caller for the most part. Like he made a mistake one here or there, but like still very reliable caller. And now that I have more experience, I can kind of like I don't necessarily need his callouts for the most. Well, I kind of need his callouts because he's the one who identifies the patterns. So he's the one who says, "Hey, go here at this point." Or go here, go there at this point. So I kind of want to do that. I want him to be the one who like evaluates it because you have to be like really, really quick on that shit. It's like the puddle markers on the ground. Oh, thanks. Like for the third dragon, he puts puddle markers on the ground, and so you know how the puddles will go off when they're frozen, but you don't know what order they're going to get frozen in because it kind of vary. So it's like, are the first freeze points going to be in the northwest southeast, or are they going to be reversed in the southwest northeast? That will determine where the safe spot's going to be. And then later there's twisters, and there's going to be another set of puddles, and there's going to be twisters on the west and east, and you don't know whether they're going to rotate clockwise or counterclockwise, which will affect which puddles go off in which order. So like there's all that stuff which you kind of have to like determine on the fly. You're going to be like, okay, we have to do these mechanics. We have to wait for the puddles to go up. We have to wait for the twisters to appear. Even when the twisters have appeared, we have to wait for them to start moving because that will let us know whether they're going clockwise or counterclockwise, and then we know where the actual safe spots are. So like this kind of shit needs to be done very quickly. And yeah, it's nice having a good shot caller to be like, hey, and like the kind of person who like goes over and reviews like tactics and stuff, because what they can do would be like, oh, actually, wait a minute, like these mechanics, like this mechanic always has a safe spot at this location, so I'll just direct people going there. And that's kind of what he did. He was like, yeah, for the first mechanic, we had to wait for the frost novas to appear, and then he would tell us whether it was safe in the north, in the west or south, or west or east, and then we would go that way. But for the second set, it was like, no, the east is always the safe spot. Oh yeah, like the Fork Tower, and these kind of raids are really tough. And this one especially, because there was two others before 48-man raids. The first one was Baldesian Arsenal, which was fine. It was the first time they've done this. But a lot of the mechanics were like a lot of personal responsibility. If you got hit by a mechanic, you died. That was it. Like, just you. Whoops, you fucked up. You didn't get to the safe spot in time. You didn't avoid the mechanic. You died. Okay, whatever. Raid might try to save you, res you. But otherwise the raid moves on, right? And they could still, in theory, clear even with you dead and gone. For the second, and this had a really kind of tough queuing system. And the second one they did, second 48-man raid, was much better in the sense that you can queue directly into it. And again, it's these type of raids. So Baldesian Arsenal, Delubrum Savage, and Fork Tower. The caveat about this, which makes this different than the other type of raids for Final Fantasy, is that you cannot resurrect yourself through normal means. So normally a healer all the healers have a res, and two of the casters have reses as well. So you can resurrect people. So in a normal raid or normal fights, healers can just res you, and those two specific caster classes can res you, no problem. They just do it. But in these three raids, these three 48-man raids, you cannot be rezzed through normal means. In Delubrum Savage and Baldesian Arsenal, there is a buff that you can get. You can use a consumable item, or power, essentially, and that will give you re-raise, which essentially means that when you die, you have a 70% chance of resurrecting yourself. And that's one of the methods of resurrection. And for Baldesian Arsenal, technically healers can have sacrifice, which will kill them 100% and resurrect you. So it's like, I'm resurrecting you and will doom myself and will die 100%. But as I said, like, you have that buff, you have that re-raise buff. So basically what healers have is they have re-raise on themselves, they cast sacrifice, they resurrect the person they targeted, they die, and then they're hoping that they get that 70% chance of resurrecting. And so basically at that point, cool, You're alive, they're alive, problem solved. Problem, of course, is that there's a 30% chance of it not working, and so the healer just killed themselves to resurrect you, and then they die themselves and stay dead. And so then another healer would have to go in and do the same thing. Do a sack chain. Yeah. So, like, are you lucky that if you die, you get resurrected, and so you don't need any additional help? Cool. Are you lucky that when the healer resurrects you, do they also resurrect? So they don't have to waste other people. And so, like, in Baldesion Arsenal, there's a thing called sack chaining, where essentially it's a string of bad luck, where healer resurrects you, dies, doesn't re-raise. They get sacrificed, or they get resurrected through sacrifice, and the healer who sacrificed them also loses that 30% or also wins that 30% chance, right? And so there's like times where it's like, yeah, you could have like 5 healers in a row, just all sacrifice and then just keep dying at the end and not having their re-raise go off, which does suck. But obviously, statistically, that's unlikely. But it also just, if you do it often enough, it happens. But basically, yeah, that is the caveat. In Valdez Narcolep's the only way to resurrect yourself. Delirium Savage made it a little easier in that there actually is you have to still have the same re-raise. So, always keep that on. Even if you die, make sure to use that item again to get that buff back so that you don't die to the next one. And then there is a specific action and power that you can equip. I think only healers can have it as well. I'm pretty sure only healers can have it. And it can resurrect people, but its chances are insanely low. So you have 20 chances to cast this spell, and it has like a 5% chance of success or something like that. So it's pretty low. And like you have to have a specific type of buff on. Oh yeah, I think that was it. You have to have a specific type of buff on yourself, which would allow it to like resurrect or increase the chance of it resurrecting from like 1% to 5% or maybe to 10%, something like that. So still not great. Definitely not something you use in the middle of battle. Like maybe if there's downtime, sure, you can give it a few shots, but it's the kind of thing you just wait until the end and then just like, okay, cool, I'll try using this item. I'll try to use I'll cast it as many times as I possibly can. But because of the nature of Delirium Savage, each of the buffs and power-ups and all that stuff you use has a certain cost, and you can only fit 99 costs worth of items and spells in your bag to bring in with you. So you can like pre-pop a bunch of buffs at the start and then fill your bag up with the stuff you're going to need in the stuff. But obviously those like powerful ones, like the re-raises and stuff, cost more than the easy, cheaper ones. So there is a trade-off. So it's like not like you can just keep 100 of those raising spells and be like, sure, it's 5%, fine. I'll just keep a few hundred of these actions on me so I can just try 20 times for each one. It's like, no, there is a limit. And then for this one, it's basically the same thing. You can't resurrect yourself again. Unfortunately, unlike the other two, you can't re-raise. There are no buffs for a re-raise. So if you die, you're dead. There's no chance of being resurrected at all. However, they made it slightly easier to resurrect. So basically, there is a phantom job. So each player goes in with a phantom job, and one of the phantom jobs of the 13 is Chemist. And Chemist, once you get their phantom job level to 3, I think, have a raise. And it's a guaranteed raise. So any Chemist in Fork Tower can raise you at any point, which means you can be resurrected in the middle of battle, which is nice because you can get resurrected and immediately can start contributing and helping towards beating the boss. Whereas in like Baldesion Arsenal and Delirium Savage, if you die and your re-raise doesn't go off, you're very, very unlikely to be resurrected in battle. And so now your team has to be able to beat the boss without, whatever class you were. Whereas this one, it's like, nah, you can be resurrected in battle. So that can help a little bit. And it's 100%, so it's like 100%, but they put a limit on the amount of times you could be raised. So you can be raised 3 times. So basically means that you can die 3 times and be resurrected, and then so essentially you have 4 lives worth in the Fork Tower run. So once you've died 3 times, if you die one more time, you cannot be rezzed. You're just dead forever, and you have to leave. But and to make it even more difficult is that Delirium Savage and Baldesion Arsenal had a lot of Deludum Savage was incredibly difficult. In fact, in terms of difficulty, I would say it's Baldesion Arsenal, Fork Tower, Deludum Savage. But Deludum Savage and Baldesion Arsenal, most of the mechanics that happen are just like personal mechanics, where it's like you just have to go to the safe spot, just be at the safe spot, don't get hit. And oh yeah, another caveat in Deludum Savage and Fork Tower, if you get hit by an avoidable attack, if you get hit by a mechanic that you should have avoided, you take a stack, a Thrice Come Ruin stack, and when you have 3 of those Thrice Come Ruin stacks, you get a Doom, which kills you 100%. So essentially, if you get hit by a mechanic you should have avoided 3 times, you will die. So it's not even like you can be like get healed or tank through something. It's like, no. If you get hit by stuff you should have avoided, it means you have to fucking avoid these things. Yeah, so... And that added on to the fact that you can't, resurrect easily or have a limited number of resurrects. Yeah, makes it very important. But in Baldesion Arsenal, Deludum Savage, a lot of the stuff was personal. It's like, yes, you gotta figure out where you need to go, or like either you specifically or the group as a whole needs to go, and just avoid the mechanics while still doing damage. And like that was kind of it. One person couldn't really fuck over other people. There were a few instances where if you don't do the correct buff or correct action at the right time, you can make things more challenging for other people. And of course, like if you're the main tank and you die, that could like make things weird because now the boss could aggro or do a tank buster on a non-tank, which will 100% kill them. But for the most part, it's fine, right? You have a death or 2 here. It's mostly because people didn't know where they should have gone. And Deludum Savage has some really interesting, complicated mechs that were like layered on top of each other, or were like happening back to back and really fast. So it was very challenging. But like once you get enough people that know what to do, they can usually like kill it relatively well without an issue. But the problem with Fork Tower is there are so many mechanics where if one person doesn't know what to do and they get chosen to resolve a mechanic, you can wipe the raid. So like for boss 1, you can't really wipe the entire raid, but like for boss 1, there's this meteor mechanic, and what happens is that on one side of the room there will be a meteor marker, and above a bunch of people's heads will be a little tiny meteor. And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to take your tiny meteor marker and go to the side with the big meteor marker and basically just line up along the edge of the arena, the far end, because when after like 5 to 10 seconds, there will be a humongous AoE around your marker. And so around you and every player with a meteor marker will have a huge AoE around them. So that's why you want to get all your meteor markers on the far side, so that it only basically takes out that part of the arena. But at the same time, there is a boss which is completely blocking your way to run back to the other side to be safe. So what happens is there's also 4 players that get marked with stack markers. 2 of the and these stack markers will essentially hit the players and rocket them in a direction, either north or south. And so basically, if you had to run north to drop your meteors, you need the 2 stack markers to also go north. 2 stack markers with arrows pointing south to go north. And essentially what they will do is that they will line up on the side of the boss, and when those stack markers go off, it'll propel them and all the meteor marker people back over to the safe side of the arena. So we've seen times where player goes to the wrong side. If I guess technically you can wipe half of the raid. Well, you can wipe a portion of the raid. If both stack markers that should go to the meteor side don't, that can fuck them over, because the stack markers can only carry so many people. So I've had instances where one of the stack markers that should have gone to meteor side didn't, because they're stupid and didn't know what they're doing. And so we only had 1 stack marker, and it can't carry all the meteor people over. It'll leave some behind. So I've died because of that. I've joined up with the stack marker, and I was one of the chosen 2 that apparently didn't get launched back over to the safe side, and so I died because all the meteors AoE went off right in my face. It sucks. It happens. But like, one person fucking up, it didn't really affect much. It killed 2 people, and I guess it killed 3 people. Themselves, because they went to the wrong side, because once it goes off, they get propelled south, and if they're already on the southern part of the map, you're going to get propelled off the edge. So that sucks. so it can kill like 3 people. But the second boss has a lot more shit that can kill more people. Like if you fuck up fire tower placements or you fuck up snowball placement, if you fuck up the snowball placement when you have a tether, like if you don't go to the right side that you should be going to while you have a tether, basically the snowball is immune. You can't beat this. You can't destroy the snowball. And what happens is once the snowball is like charged to each side of the arena, if you did it right, they are not immune. And while they're casting self destruct, you can destroy them, and it interrupts the self destruct. But if the self destruct goes off, it wipes the entire raid. So if someone doesn't place that tether at the right spot to get knocked far enough away from the snowball tethered to them, the snowball will be invulnerable and you wipe the raid. So if you're an idiot and you got picked with that mechanic, you could wipe the raid by being stupid. Similarly, if one tank or one healer goes to if one tank doesn't get their fire tower properly, or one healer stands with the DPS, you could wipe out the DPS for half the raid. So there's a lot of mechanics that like 1 or 2 people can really fuck over everybody, and that's where problems happen. Whereas the other ones were like, nah, like sure. The only way like you could really fuck over the raid in the previous 2 types of raids was like if you were like really important, right? Like if you were a healer or a tank, and there weren't that many healers or tanks, it just makes it difficult for the rest of them to clear without you alive. But this one's like, no, like regardless of your role, you can still find a way to fuck over the entire raid if you're stupid. So it makes it far, far more challenging, not surprisingly. Which I mean, it's a 48-man raid, so like it's going to happen that you're going to have people who are not great. And there's some content and some aspects to it that are really interesting because they added like 13 phantom jobs, realistically 12, because 12, one of them is kind of like a gimmick. And you actually need to have like people from various phantom jobs to do certain things. Like you need people with the night phantom job to be able to to be your main tanks because of their special invulnerabilities they have. The last boss needs a berserker because there's one mechanic that 100% needs a berserker to work. You need the phantom job oracle because there's a mob after the 3rd boss that can only essentially be killed if you doom them, and only oracle can doom. You need thieves in both sides. Like you have 6 parties, and so the first 3 parties need a thief. One person within the first 3 parties need a thief, and one person in the second 3 parties needs a thief, because the thieves are the only ones who can detect traps, and there are going to be traps just on the floor in between bosses. So if you don't detect them, if it's a normal trap, only the person who stepped on it will die. If it's a super trap, it'll kill everyone within a huge radius. And so it can easily wipe an entire raid if you accidentally pop a super trap. And what really sucks is that on bridges, which is in between the second and third boss, you're going along these bridges, killing ads, trying to progress forward, and there are super traps. And in fact, the last monster you have to fight on the bridge is a pretty beefy monster that takes like 2 minutes to kill. And while you're having to get the mob closer to the other side of the bridge and farther away from their own mobs, you have to avoid a super trap that's like dead center kind of in that part of the bridge. So like there's going to be a super trap around that final mob, and you have to basically do all the mechanics while also making sure you don't accidentally touch it, because if you touch it, it'll basically kill your entire side. So yeah, it's pretty challenging. And there's also like rangers who can actually pop traps from a distance, but the problem, so they can pop normal traps no problem without killing anybody. But the problem is if they pop a super trap, it's a huge AoE, so they could still kill people. So usually for that bridges portion, we leave the super traps alone, so that But for the rest of the for all the other traps, it's good to have a ranger there to be able to pop them. So like they have like 12 jobs, and like you need at least like 6 of them, and like you need time mages. Time mages can slow mobs. Slow trash mobs, and which is absolutely necessary in certain spots, and also dispel. And dispel is needed in a few key locations. So it's like, and you also need bards, because bards can cast this like stun that needs to be done on bridges and also in the third boss. So it's like there are like 12 jobs, and like 6 to 8 of them are kind of like required. So you have to have a few people for each of those jobs, and then some other ones are just DPS jobs. It's like, okay, once those necessary jobs are done, you can take in a DPS. You can bring in, have everyone else be a DPS job to do a lot of damage. So it's a lot of coordination. It's definitely not something you can like hug. It's not something you go into the instance and like, hey, let's get a group together, go do this, because like chances are, one, like none of you have cleared it or even know the mechanics, so you're just gonna die almost immediately. And two, you probably don't have the required jobs, because you can only change your phantom job right as you go in. So the second you teleport in, that's the moment where you can change your phantom job to what it needs to be, and then once you step off that platform, you're locked in. You cannot change it. So if people think, oh, okay, cool, like, I'm going to choose this job. I want this job. I want this job, and then they go in, jump down, and realize, oh shit, we need someone with this job. You're fucked. So yeah. Now, if everyone knows what the mechanics are, sure. In theory, you could just like randomly pop into an instance and try to get 48 other people, 47 other people besides yourself to try to do it. But chances are you can't get that many people, because you need to be max level within the instance. So not everyone's going to be max level, so they wouldn't even be able to do it. And then not everyone either wants to, has the ability to, or has ever done it before. So you're just going to be a bunch of fresh people, and that's pretty much how it's going to be like all the time. You're going to go into something like that, and you're going to be like, yeah, I'm going to go essentially fresh every single time, because you're never going to get the same people consistently going in. So anyone you might teach, like maybe you're a really good person, maybe you've cleared 10 times, and if you try to explain it to people, one, they're still going to fuck up, because that's how it is. Some people take a few fuck ups to learn. So one, they're going to fuck up, and then two, like, even if you get them past the first or second boss, like maybe you're really good at explaining and you can get them to and clear the second boss, like your chances are you're going to keep losing people and have to go back in. And second, you basically wipe, you have to come out and wait 30 minutes before to go back in. And yeah, so it's definitely something that really kind of requires outside coordination. So you have to have like a Discord, which I'm in. I'm at a bunch of Discords all doing this. So that's how I'm progressing. And with Discords, it's like it's already like predefined, right? It's already like they've worked on their shit. They know what they're doing. Let me just double check to see. They know what they're doing, and also they're looking for people. They already they have like dedicated strats. So they're like, hey, here are the strats we're using. Here's a Google Drive with a slideshow presentation. Here's a raid plan thing where it like describes the mechanics and how to avoid them and all that shit. So if anyone has any questions, you can be like, here's our resources. Here's where the strats are located, and you can research them ahead of time. And when they're creating parties, they're saying, hey, we're doing boss 4, we're doing Magitar prog, which means like they're only looking for people who have cleared the third boss and are ready to go in and fight the fourth boss. And like for clear runs, obviously they're looking for people who have actually cleared. Now, since you're like doing signups and stuff on Discord, you can lie and you can still sign up. And, like nothing's really there to stop you. But it's kind of a dick move if you try to doing that, and so you don't really want to. And like because basically if you do this, like you might get kicked, right, when they see that you suck. And I don't know, maybe they look up FF logs, which is the parsing tool, which lets you know how good your DPS was. Maybe they check. I'm not sure. I think it depends on the party lead. But if they don't, it could be that like they could kick you if you clearly are fucking up and don't even know the basics. They could kick you, or if you really fuck up that much, you could just die so many times that you can't be rezzed anymore, and so you get kicked. And then if you keep lying like that, then they'll just kick you out of the Discord and be like, "Yeah, get the fuck out." Like, if you keep lying, stop doing that. So it's all. So that's why it's generally not good to lie. I think most people don't lie. I mean, they're pretty. People are pretty good about that shit. Oh yeah, that's what I was looking for. I was looking for her. She's that one. Okay. What was Blade's one? This one was that. Oh yeah, I need a bunch of those. Actually, wait. I guess he could use those too. Oh wait. Let's change that too. I guess I'll set it back to her. Yeah, sure. What's up? What questions do you got? Let's do this in the background. What's this? Destruction Remembrance. I think this is good for, yeah, the Castorus team. Where are you? No, it should be ice. Ice. There you are.
行く先を照らして力を合わせて。
Let's see. I mean, well, actually, I was gonna say I'm going to pull. No, I did pull in skirt. I pulled skirt. So like, I would because I really like Skirk, but I also have Sit Lolly, so it's like, yeah, I don't. But obviously, I would pull. But it depends. Like, do you have enough other characters that can support Skirk? Like, Skirk is in Freeze teams, and Sit Lolly doesn't work well with Skirk. Because Sit Lolly only gets triggered on vaporizes and melts. So if you're not doing vaporizes or melts, then you don't do. Yeah, like I mean, Furina's not bad per se, but you'd need some pretty good. I mean, Furina, I guess alone is enough, really, because it provides enough hydro application. So you want to be doing a lot of freezes. So with Furina and then like maybe 2 actual healers, like even Barbara is fine, a big burst healer. Then that would be fine. So you could, in theory, do it, but like, it's just that the fact that like their 2 characters don't really get along with each other kind of means like it depends on who you want more. And I'm not sure when Sit Lolly's coming out. Like she wasn't recent. She was like 5.3 or 5.2 or something. So it's been a decent chunk of time. So it's possible she'll come back sometime soon. But 5.8. So that's like the next patch, or the patch after next. I mean, that's a tough choice. So, I look at leaks too to get a good idea of when characters are going to be released. I kind of have a general idea, but not like story stuff and content leaks. Just mostly like animations and when characters might get released. I mean, so I think we're in 5.6 right now. Are we? If we're in 5.6 right now, then typically if you have the $5 Welkin Moon, if you have that, you can essentially get 1 5-star every patch, because it basically gives you about 5.7. Okay, that's not much better. Because like in a patch, you'll basically get 12 to 14,000 Prima Gems. So it's like if you had 2 patches to go and you had enough to pull and get Skirk now, if you had enough Prima Gems now to get her, then you. 10 left for pity, or like, yeah. In theory, you could get it, but like, yeah, the fact that you only have one patch, the fact that it's next patch,
私たちに不可能はない。
yeah. I would say it's risky. Oh, 10 late on Welkin. Okay. Well, I'm talking about like you pretty much have to buy it every single month. If you don't get it reliably, then because like the idea is that people I've seen like people like calculate how many primo gems you get per patch, and they calculate what you would get if you're 100% free to play. And then which is usually around like 8,000 to 9,000 primo gems, and then with the Welkin Moon, you get it up to like 12,000 to 14,000, depending on like how much the base primo gems are. Like you get around like 12,000, and then like with the battle pass, you can bump it up a small little bit, not a huge amount. Battle pass doesn't really give you that much. The Welkin Moon gives you far more. But you can kind of expect to get around like 12,000 primo gems up patch with the Welkin Moon if you keep the Welkin Moon active 100%. So like that's the kind of thing I would say. Let's see, so it's Vaporize and Melt. What good cryo? What good what good cryo or pyro characters do you have? Do you have a good pairs with Sitlali? Because if you have Mavica, I would say probably wait for Sitlali, because I think Sitlali will be a great booster for Mavica damage. If you have So Mavica, like that's the thing. So like right now, you really don't have someone amazing with Skirk. Like the amazing like as you said, Escoffier is how Skirk is amazing. And I mean Mavica is already pretty amazing, but like Sitlali is kind of like tailor made for Mavica, just like how Escoffier is tailor made for Skirk. Well, actually, Escoffier is tailor made for freeze teams, of which Skirk is designed to be on freeze teams. So it works really well with it. Sitlali just has a lot more utility because, I mean, Vaporize and Melt is useful for everything. Having a shield is also super nice. It doesn't have to be with people from Natlan. Like, obviously, the reason why Mavica is a really good choice is because the more Natlan characters you have in your field on your team, the lower the cooldown for your Night Soul Burst is. So that's why it worked really well with that. But obviously, you can have any fire DPS or water DPS as well, because like she does boost Vaporize damage too, and both Vaporize and Melt already do great damage modifiers. So I would say Sitlali is probably the better choice, team composition wise. But for me, if I didn't have either, and I had to pick one, I would probably pick Skirk just because I like her more. But Sitlali would probably be the smarter choice. Like, that made me curious. Let's see, do I have any of the places I'm
風に乗って出発
in discuss the leaks? So is it in
もう
Messenger?
忘れたの？
Oh yeah. The skins for Yolande and Bennett are next patch
影の
too.
雲を押しのけて晴れ渡る空をもたらしてくれますように。いけ
Actually, wait, yeah, we should already know exactly who's going to be in the next patch because actually, wait, no, they do the drip marketing for new characters, not for old ones.
私たちなら
But
私たち
we do kind of know.
なーい。
約束された
We have some preliminary leaks for the 6.0 stuff. We're getting an electrocharge carry, a crystallized carry, a supposed pyro escoffier, vaporized carry. Interesting. I wonder what pyro escoffier means. It's like escoffier is designed for freeze. But like, so she's really around a
私
reaction.
たちを守って
Well, I don't know. Pyroscophy, because like there's two major type of reactions, melt and vaporize, and usually melt doesn't need help. It's like melt is the highest modifiers.
大丈夫です。
Vaporize has modifiers. Like the reason why freeze needed help was because it doesn't give damage modifiers for freeze.
貫け。
せーの。西風に乗って出発。影も雲も押しのけて晴れ渡る空をもたらしてくれますように。さあ行くぞー。やったね。
あんたに決めた。私たちに不可能はない。
約束された世界まだ終わっていない
私たちを守って死よ。
まだダメ孫悟の力よ
もう忘れたの？
震えろ我が威厳のもとで氷になれ
せーの。西風に乗って出発。落ち着いてください。影も雲も押しのけて晴れ渡る空をもたらしてくれますように。いけードカーン。
私たちなら私たちに不可能はない。
約束された世界
私たちを守って死よ。
まだダメ貴
様に絶望を。
大丈夫です。
貴様らの敗北は決まっている。ふん、貫け。
せーの、西風に乗って出発。
大丈夫です。
影も雲も押しのけて晴れ渡る空をもたらしてくれますように。さあ行くぞー。やったね。
あんたに決めた。私たちに不可能はない。
いけー。
約束された世界。
まだ終わっていない。
私たちを守って死よ。まだダメ。
孫悟の力よ。震えろ、我が威厳のもとで。氷になれ。
もう忘れたの？
せーの、西風に乗って出発。影も雲も押しのけて晴れ渡る空をもたらしてくれますように。さあ行くぞー。やったね。
私たちなら。私たちに不可能はない。
約束された世界。
私たちを守って死よ。まだダメ。
貴様に絶望を。貴様らの敗北は決まっている。ふん、貫け。
せーの、西風に乗って出発。
もう忘れたの？大丈夫です。
影も雲も押しのけて晴れ渡る空をもたらしてくれますように。いけー。ドッカーン。
あんたに決めた。私たちに不可能はない。
約束された世界。 まだ終わっていない。
私たちを守って死よ。まだダメ。
孫悟の力よ。
もう忘れたの？大丈夫です。
震えろ、我が威厳のもとで。氷になれ。
悪者め。せーの、西風に乗って出発。影も雲も押しのけて晴れ渡る空をもたらしてくれますように。さあ行くぞー。やったね。
私たちなら私たちに不可能はない。
約束された世界。
私たちを守って死よ。まだダメ。
貴様に絶望を。貴様らの敗北は決まっている。ふん、貫け。
せーの、西風に乗って出発。
大丈夫です。
影も雲も押しのけて晴れ渡る空をもたらしてくれますように。いけードッカーン。
あんたに決めた。私たちに不可能はない
約束された世界。まだ終わっていない。
私たちを守って死よ。まだダメ。
孫悟の力よ。震えろ、我が威厳のもとで。氷になれ。
大丈夫です。もう忘れたの？
せーの、西風に乗って出発。 ださい。影も雲も押しのけて晴れ渡る空をもたらしてくれますように。さあ行くぞー。やったね。
私たちなら私たちに不可能はない
約束された世界。
用でもあるの？ないなら帰るから。
Okay, I think that's all I was going to do in here. Now I will log off and play Zenless on Zero, because I did my weekly thing here. Now I just got to do my Hollow Zero for Zenless on Zero, as well as I'm going to work on some of the Temple Restoration event. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.